I've been doing this series on who is the devil or what is the devil. I've done 6 videos so far on it. We studied a lot of different contexts. We studied the Antichrist, Satan, devil, spirit, Leviathan. I don't even remember what else we studied, but it was a lot. It was a lot of content. And I want to share with you that at the end of that series, I got really tested. I had to put into practice what I've been teaching you. I mean, there's no sense in me teaching anything if I don't put it into practice, right? If only the false teachers knew that. But the bottom line is, I'm not going to be effective, and God is not going to testify to what I'm doing if I haven't done this work in myself first. So I'm always telling you in these videos that the devil will tempt and God is testing. At that very same time, the devil will tempt, God is always doing something. I started to feel really scared about some things that are going on in my life. Like I was feeling a lot of fear and panic and worry and doubt and questioning. All of that description right there should tell you that there was warfare going on, that Satan is lurking, because those feelings, that state of doubt and fear and panic and worry, that comes from the enemy. That is the enemy slithering into these places that have not been sealed up yet. And God has to bring us to certain places. It's not because I don't do my work, but I'll tell you one thing. I use this analogy now because I think it's a really good analogy, actually. God has to bring you certain places in order for certain things to come up and out. And the analogy that I use is a toothpaste tube. If you have a backup plan, you have a backup toothpaste tube in your cupboard or in your drawer, you're not going to try to squeeze every last bit out of the toothpaste tube, because why? It's kind of a pain in the butt. If you have backups, you don't feel motivated. And so God is going to strip you down if you're his. I'm just going to let you know right now, he's going to strip you down, because if you have backup plans, you have idols, how's he ever going to get to that last bit of the toothpaste? How's he ever going to get that last bit out of you? You simply will not feel motivated. And so this is what God has been doing with me, is he's been taking me really far and reducing me and stripping me. And it's been really hard. It's been incredibly hard. I mean, I have felt angry. Yesterday, I felt angry the majority of the day, and I just felt like totally abandoned. I was not understanding anything. I was questioning everything. What have I done? But also concurrently, like while I'm questioning everything, I'm like, there's no way. I didn't give everything up because I wanted to. It's not like people aren't deceived by things they don't want to do. They're deceived about things that they do want to do. When you are hearing something from God that you don't want to do, you exercise a little more caution. Like you go to God and you're like, are you sure I'm hearing this from you? Are you sure this is what you're telling me to do? So that was my process. I wasn't like, oh, you want me to give up my careers that I work so hard that I am like pretty much semi-retired and my staff are doing the majority of the work? Oh, okay. Yeah, let's do it and let's not look back. That's not how that happened. One of the things that God has been doing, the messages that he has been building in me, is not to fear man and also not to trust man. We cannot rely or depend on man. We just can't do it. And that has been an issue for me in certain things that I don't feel like I have the ability to do, is to feel in a way like I'm dependent on a contractor, for example. But God's been telling me, do not fear man and do not trust man. I have these bills coming in. I've never been a person who does not pay my bills. I pay my bills right when they come in. I've had bills coming in that I don't have the money to pay. And it's been really scary. And he's been telling me, do not fear man. Okay, but what do we do about this? Because, and this is what I was taking up with him today, is what do I do about this? Because I have to answer for this, Lord. I'm not going to go hide with regard to my debts, and you tell me that I need to pay my debts. So I just had a lot of feelings going on last night, but some of those, we have to understand the difference between our feelings and actual attack. When we start getting compelled, when this is overwhelming us, then we have to recognize that this is attack. And if we start turning to idols like distractions or self-idolatry, trying to control things, that chink in our armor is never going to be sealed. We're never going to heal, and God will not seal that chink in the armor up because we haven't done our work. We have not demonstrated to him that we've actually chosen him. So last night, I started feeling like I want to distract. I feel angry. I don't want to feel this. But I started leaning into God. I started recognizing the spiritual attack, and I started leaning into God. And he added to this: do not fear man, don't trust man, and don't fear the devil. And he started talking to me, first of all, about where he's taken me, because it used to be in counterfeit Christianity that I thought the devil had like some equal power to God or something. And I did the stupid counterfeit stuff that they teach in counterfeit Christianity, like trying to scream the devil away. And it didn't work, nor did it ever make sense. And I started taking up all of these worries and these concerns. And what he said to me is that he does everything. He sends everything. He sends calamity and prosperity. There's nothing that he's not doing, even in permitting the devil to do certain things so that he can test us. There's literally nothing he's doing. Why would he bring more grief on me than is necessary in order to accomplish his will? And so if I know that, then in the moment, even when I'm going through things that are like, why, I still turn to him because he knows what he's doing. And because I know that he's doing something. And I went to sleep in peace. I went to sleep in peace, just continually reminding myself that there's literally nothing that the devil could do to me that God has not sent. And so if God is the one who sends it, then the solution is always to go back to him. I've had to remind myself of that all day today. The solution is always to go back to him. The solution is always to return to him, to ask him what he wants of me, and to remind myself and to stand in the belief that God is the one who's sovereign, that he's the one who's in control, and that nothing is sent by the devil. The devil literally has no power, but that which we give him and that which the Father gives him, if he's using him to test us and build us, or to break us down, to punish us, to bring us into position. So I want to tell you guys something, because it seems like a lot of people don't seem to understand this in the covenant. You're constantly going to be in a state of ambiguity. You're constantly going to be in a state of uncertainty when you're serving God. You're going to be broke down, weak. You're not going to have any power or control. The relationship that God requires of you is to submit, obey, and rely on him. You're not going to get to a place where you're smooth sailing with God, because the minute you get to a place of comfort and you have learned how to stand in whatever it is that he's built, he's on to the next thing. No one is arriving here. And by the time that you have learned all these things, there would be no point in you being here. And so if you're serving, I don't want you to think that you've somehow arrived, because I am serving and I have not arrived anywhere. I'm broken down and poured out for you guys. I'm sharing my testimony all the time of what it is that God's doing in me. Usually not so comfy, not so fun to share about. And this is the deal, guys. This is what it means to pick up your cross on a daily basis. That's what the word says, daily. And so what's going to happen as time goes on is he's going to get to the last bit of that toothpaste tube, and he's going to keep squeezing whatever's in you out. And it's okay that you feel that you don't have any power, because the word says that these things will continue to go on until the power of God's holy people is broken. Deuteronomy 32:36 says, the Lord will vindicate his people and relent concerning his servants when he sees their strength is gone and no one is left slave or free. So if you're wondering about the fiery trial that's come on you, as Peter says, don't be surprised about the fiery trial that's come on you, because God's judgment begins with his people first. If you're wondering why you feel so weak and emptied out, it's because this is how it goes. This is what this is all about. And if you look in the word, if you actually read the word and listen to how God's servants were experiencing things, Paul is an excellent example. Jesus, obviously, Jeremiah, David. If you look at what they were going through, this is exactly it. He's constantly bringing you to the wall. in order to build, in order to purify, make spotless, and refine. Satan is nothing. Satan is a tool that God is using in order to test your heart to see if you actually believe in him. Are you going to trust him? Are you going to obey him? Are you going to submit to him? Or are you going to do the thing that's easier in the moment, which is to distract, try to control the situation, go find some idol to fix it for you? What are you going to do? I'm in a situation that is dire right now. Am I going to turn back? Because I can pretty easily make the money that I need if I were to turn back to what God took me out of, but I'm not going to. I could also be handed over to the devil. No, thank you. I know what I came out of. I know where I'm headed. I know the work that I'm doing in God. I will never turn back. I know that God is faithful. I know his promises in the word. But you know what? I haven't paid my mortgage in 2 months on my home. One of the lenders on the building has 3 liens on my house in our contract. This is the situation that I'm in. Has God brought me to the wall or not? I haven't paid the mortgage on that building in 2 months. I'm in the process of speaking with these mortgage companies in order to find out what the next step is, and I still believe God is going to do what he has promised he's going to do. Today, when I got home from cleaning things up at the office, there was a check waiting for me in my mailbox that I was not expecting, not from a person, from a company, and that check covered my bills. I was in the car asking God, Lord, what? I understand, okay, I've contacted the mortgage companies. They understand what's going on right now. If the timing is right, then when the building sells, I'll be able to go ahead and pay the back payments on my mortgage, my home mortgage. Otherwise, I lose my home. But as far as my bills, I need to pay my bills, Lord. And you tell me that I need to pay my debts. So why would you put me in this position to not be paying anything? I know that you say I'm not to fear man, but I'm coming to you. I'm asking you the question, how am I going to do this? What do I need to do right now? What am I missing? And I came home to that check, and it covered my back bills. So I want to share that with you because I want you to praise God too. I want you to be able to see his glory and that he's doing something right now, and that even when you're in a situation, even when you have just left Egypt, you thought everything was good. God brought you out of Egypt. He carried you on eagle's wings, right? And now you're at the sea and the Egyptians are chasing behind you. Where do you go? What do you do? Are you going to turn back? Has God brought you here to bring you back to slavery or to drown you in the sea? I know he's going to do something. I know that I'm his, and I know that the people who are listening to the things that I'm saying and really believe what God has me doing, I know that they've been leaning into him too, asking him, have we believed in vain? Have we believed something that's not true? And he's not going to forsake them. He's either going to make an example of me and tell them that I'm not his, or he's going to fulfill this. He's going to do what he has promised. But it doesn't mean he's going to do it in our timeline. And it doesn't mean that it's going to be pain-free. Otherwise, we get way too comfortable here. And we start trusting in that check, that money, that mortgage being covered. We start trusting in those things. So he's not doing this without pain, that's for sure. But that's what he's doing. And so in the process of this, while things are going in a way that I didn't plan for them to go, that I did not see coming, he's raising all of the chinks in my armor that need to be sealed. And the only way for them to be sealed is for me to stand in faith and pass the test. I can't bide my time. I can't act like this is just a matter of time and then God is going to fulfill it. And I don't learn the lesson along the way. That isn't how he operates. He requires me to learn the lesson, then he relents. And my strength has been gone. I mean, I think, okay, maybe he's going to do this during Purim. Maybe he's going to do it during Passover. And he just takes me here and then I feel devastated. And then he takes me there and then I feel, are you going to do this or not? And I have to sort through all of the feelings and the doubts and the wondering and I did hear you, right? Like, I didn't do any of this for me. None of this was for me. I didn't want to keep that building. And in fact, it would have been a wiser financial move to get rid of the building rather than live on my savings and my retirement while I'm paying the mortgage on a building I don't use. But I have listened to everything that he said. I have not done my own thing. I have feared God the entire time. So these are the things that I remind myself of when the devil starts trying to cast doubt, when God is testing me. I hope that this message is not lost on anyone. I hope you understand what it is to come out like gold. The process of making gold is that it is put through the fire and the impurities separate from the gold, and then you have pure gold. And that's what God's doing. He's separating the impurities out of us by putting us through the fire. And I just want to let you know that this is not part of Satan's plan. This is God's plan. This is not the Satan show. This is God's show. He's the one who's revealing who he is. And when he's done using the devil will go to his destruction. Please discern this message with God.